Another wild ride for the Volvo Ocean Race fleet. Now it's leg 4 of this 9-month, 11-leg, 45,000-mile marathon. We have 7 teams out there for another huge challenge, all the way from Melbourne to Hong Kong. And if you're not already glued to the race, go to the volvooceanrace.com website, download the mobile phone app, join us in the daily show every day, and we are going to be bringing you all the moments like this as this incredible, relentless marathon rumbles on and the challenges turn up every single day. Now then, we have a little bit of a treat for you. The race tracker is meant to be live for 24 hours after the race start, but it's still live at the moment. People are working around the clock to keep the information flowing to your computer screens. So if you haven't done so already, trust me, the tracker is out there, it is live, but it will not remain live for long, so use it while you can. And with that in mind, let's take a look at where the boats are right now and dial into the race. The start was in Melbourne a few days ago, and now the fleet have enjoyed a little bit of a break from that jibing battle and fanning out to set up for the next tactical move. We have seen the current leaders, Mapfre, heading to the west, and they are forming a group of 4 boats. The other 3, Turn the Tide on Plastic, Dongfeng Race Team and Axonabel, all trying a different approach. And we spoke to Chris Nicholson on board the Dutch team to get his take on it.
Yeah, I guess after a bad start in the bay, we had a really good night last night and pushed pretty hard both throughout the night and through the day today, and end up in a pretty good position, but just in the last recent hours might have lost a few miles to the guys inshore.
Well, let's talk a little bit about where you say inshore, offshore. There's a fanning out of the fleet with the current coming up. What's your take on it?
Yeah, we've had our eye on there's like an eddy or like almost reverse current out wide that we've had our eye on for a week or so now. And, you know, we always thought that if the breeze lined up with it, it could be an option to go and do. And basically that's what ourselves and Dongfeng have chosen to do. Mapfre, Brunel, Vestas are inshore. They're in a bit less breeze, but a slightly better angle. So it's going to be quite an interesting little play out. I think we dropped about sort of 7-9 miles in the last sked to them, but hopefully we can make that back up tonight.
But you must be feeling pretty confident about the speed that you can pull out of the bag, because the last sort of 24 hours for you guys has been great.
Yeah, it was, and it's really good for the team to be able to realise that we can kind of knock it out with them. The trick now for us is to be able to do that consistently day after day, which is what Dongfeng and Mapfre can do. We're yet to be able to prove ourselves in that arena, but you know, right at the moment, the boat feels good, everyone's in good shape, so we just got to, you know, keep pushing and see if we can hold it all there together.
Without giving too much away, can I slyly ask what that speed increase was due to? Was it something on the boat being fixed? Was it being well rested?
Well, mate, no, believe me, nothing's well rested out here at the moment. So, no, it's just, you know, I think technique-wise, we've been working at it for quite a while with the big masthead Zero. And driver-wise, we've also been, you know, it's been kind of like an ongoing program, because I think we have been a bit light on, and we sort of, you know, bring in, you know, now sort of Brad and Martini do a lot more driving. So we kind of, you know, we're starting to get, I think, a good balance and a good core group of drivers.
What do you see as the biggest obstacle as we go north and leave Australia?
Well, you know, there's all sorts of things. Like at the moment, we're in sort of 20 to 28 knots of wind, and, you know, we've got the pedal down, and, you know, some pretty high speeds and big waves. So, number one, we've got to keep it in one piece. And then, you know, obviously doldrum areas, and also how we play this sort of current, and try and re-establish ourselves back sort of as the leader or in the lead pack in the next sort of 24 hours could end up being quite a crucial time of the race, you know, in the next 24 hours even.
This is your 6th Volvo Ocean Race. Are you still enjoying it?
Oh, I am, mate, but it's probably a good thing we're on audio and not the camera, because I reckon I'd look a bit shabby right at the moment. But You know, like, yes, I am enjoying it. I'm especially enjoying this, like right now, where we're knocking it out with the leaders, and able to actually beat them. So that's something that I didn't think we quite had that capability of yet. So that's all pleasing stuff, and it's also great to see the young guys kind of grow and come out of their shell, and you know, like, I'm sitting here on the companionway steps, and they're just, you know, pretty much fully sending it, but in control, and that kind of thing is really pleasing to see.
Well, Chris, you've obviously got a lot on. You're vying for the lead. We'll let you get back to the race.
Cheers, Niall. Thank you.
Positive vibes from Chris Nicholson on board Axel Nobel, and he was talking there about the current and how that is going to shape the racecourse over the next 24 hours. Well, to dive into it to a little bit more detail, we've got Conrad Colman joining us here in race control. Conrad, how is the race going to unfold?
Well, what's going to happen is it's going to drive a wedge, as we've seen now with the fleet spanning out as they head their way north, into two completely different groups. We've got a western pack, very distinct, and an eastern pack. Let's have a look at the tracker and see an animation as to how this works out. You can see that they've gone around the Cape, last big acceleration zone in this leg for the moment, and then Mafre jibing over to take the most western position, followed by Turn the Tide on plastic, all the way out on the other side. So we've got very extreme different options out here. And this here, you can see this gyre, as we say, or backheady, is the element that has driven the wedge in between the fleet. Surprisingly, we've still got Team Brunel here. They're kind of bucking the trends. They're sort of playing it straight down the middle. Interesting to see local navigator Andrew Cape doing something completely different. Bit of a renegade move there, but we're going to see how that plays out in the future if we can look at the routing options looking ahead. Well, this is the data that the boats are having to try and understand on board. I'm using exactly the same information, the same tools as they are, and we can see the fleet is down here. We've got the eddy tucked in behind them, and then we need to see how this is going to play out in the future. I did a routing option for Turn the Tide on plastic using this route here on the most easterly, and then on the most westerly I chose Mafre, who are heading up close to the coast. And you can see that the key elements in the future are not only this gyre here that split the fleet, but we've got a back eddy here, and then we've got strong East Australian current facing off against the boats that's going to force everybody to go offshore at this point, just a little bit after the famous Gold Coast. Now, that's pretty complicated. If we can strip away some of the data and just overlay what the current is going to be doing on the predicted route, it sort of becomes a lot more clear. You can see that the boats out to the east are going to get a big kick, pushing them back west. And then you can see along this route, there's no real beneficial current until we get to here. However, if we look at the other side where Mafre and Sunghunkai and Vestas are, well, up here they get a nice little kick just off Newcastle, and then basically no counter effect of the current. If we forget about the current for a second, just look at the wind, then you can see, well, they're going to have a great ride, jibing all the way up the coast. The work rate is going to reduce on the boats. It's going to be all about boat speed. But I had a look at a little bit of the analysis coming forward, and, well, they're going to have a bit of a holiday, because up here they've got 35% of the time they're going to be in 8 to 12 knots of wind, 43% of the time in 12 to 16, and 21% of the time in 16 to 20. So these guys have come through 40, 50, 60 knots in the Southern Ocean. Now it's going to be a summer holiday. East or west, which is going to pay? Looks like by the time they get to the Solomons, it's going to be the western route that's going to pay by 1 hour and a half. So it looks like Mapfre are solid in their lead for now.
So a very small move, seemingly only just a few miles splitting the fleet at the moment, but it's going to have big consequences. Well, we spoke to Axel Nobel and Chris Nicholson, who are the boat in that group to the east. Let's hear from somebody on the western side. Stacey Jackson on board Vestas, 11th Hour Racing.
these first 2 days at sea have just been full on for us. It's been non-stop since since the 5-minute warning signal. It's been a pretty cool day today. Actually, we've been doing some short jibing down the coast up the coast of New South Wales in Australia, and all 7 boats have been crossing back and forth just right by each other. And it's only been the last couple of hours where we sort of spread out a bit, and sort of time will tell a little bit who's made the right decision.
Has it been nice to be back in that jibing melee after the Southern Ocean?
No, I think we've kind of got our fair share of jibes already in the last leg and this one, but definitely easier work jibing the boat now. We've got the weather's definitely on our side. It's a lot warmer. The water is a lot warmer than the last leg too, so that makes life a lot easier.
Okay, well, let's talk about the current positions. As you say, the fleet is sort of setting themselves up for the next 24 hours. Where are you and why?
We're on the coast. Us and Matt Frey and Scallywags are in a group that are close to the coast. There's two choices here. You can go east out into the current, or you can stay inside of the East Australian current, and that's what we've chosen to do. We're staying inside of the current. So the next few hours, probably by the next get-in in the next sort of 5 hours or so, will sort of give us an indication on how we've gone with that. But for now, we're sort of the little group we're in. We're sailing on quite nicely.
Is it nerve-wracking to split like you are?
Yeah, well, only about 2 or 3 hours ago we could see everyone and we were crossing jibes with each other. So to sort of be, to now, get glimmers of boats on the horizon, it's sort of, we'll just have to wait and see, really. We'll just keep sailing our boat as hard as we can and hope we've made the right decision.
Oh, well, let's ask you now about Charlie Enright. Obviously, big news with him not being able to do this leg. How is this affecting the boat at the moment?
Of course, it's always hard when someone has to step down from a leg for whatever reason. But we had a good plan on how we were going to tackle it, and Mark stepped up as the skipper, and he certainly had his work cut for him already, but he's stepped up really well, and the team's just rolling forward like we did. We have a good leader, we have a good navigator, and everyone's sort of just doing their job as we should be, as normal. Certainly we miss Charlie, and I'm sure he's missing being on board as well.
And also missing being part of a moment in the race where you guys are pushing pretty well right now. I mean, you feeling confident?
Yeah, I bet Charlie's not missing the lack of sleep that we're all having, but I'm sure he's probably actually not sleeping as much either. He's glued to the tracker. I think we're all here, we're all capable of doing our jobs throughout these next couple of days. So we can do Charlie proud.
All right, Stacey, thank you so much for talking to us. We'll let you get back to the race. Good luck.
Okay, cheers.
Stacey Jackson on board Vestas 11th Hour Racing, equally feeling confident on the western side of the fleet. But it is so much more about what's going on the water right now. There is plenty of this race left to go. And if you've only just dialed into the Volvo Ocean Race, you are joining us now on leg 4. And it is incredible marathon track laid out in front of these sailors. Conrad Colman is here. And Conrad, let's just talk us through the course. What's happened so far and what's still to come?
Well, it's an absolute doozy. Remember, we started in Alicante, where we are now, in October, and then down the Atlantic to the first major stopover in Cape Town, the leg that we just completed, Melbourne, and then this is where we are now, on this zip-zap to Asia before returning to Australasia with Auckland, New Zealand, and then back across the South Pacific, up to Brazil, North America again, followed by a quick transatlantic before the European sprint at the finish. Cardiff, Gothenburg, finishing in The Hague at the end of June. There's so much to come, and crucially for the rankings, so many points left to go. So while Maffrey might be leading at the moment, there's plenty of opportunity for lots of things to play out on the ocean.
And this leg 4, this is a little bit unique because we haven't been to Hong Kong before, but we're almost kind of going back on ourselves.
Well, that's right. Typically these races go eastwards around the world. That you go down the Atlantic, turn left, go all the way around the bottom of the globe, turn left at Cape Horn, and keep going. And basically, you're heading eastwards all the time between Cape Town and Cape Horn. This is pretty unique. It was the first time, actually, that a race like this has gone backwards, actually sailing west, back up towards Asia. And the original leg in 1973 was comprised of just a few legs and only had 27,000 miles. Now we've got 11 overall legs, 45,000 miles. This is what makes this race such a doozy.
And you've got to add in the miles because the boats are going so much faster in this edition than where we started with the Whitbread all those many years ago. But let's just be clear about what's going on in the race right now. We've got a very important next 12, 24 hours. This leg is also going to be huge. Can Mafre hold on to the lead? Can Dongfeng race team form that comeback? Vestas 11th Hour Racing also in the hunt as well. AkzoNobel, Team Brunel, so much to prove. And then are we going to get set for yet another drag race between Turn the Tide on Plastic and Sun Hung Kai Scallywag? Stay with us here at Volvo Ocean Race headquarters in Alicante. We'll be bringing you all the drama. We've got a quick fix for you tomorrow morning and then another daily show at 1300 UTC.